Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Breath of Life Conversations. If you have not been here before, my name is Abigail. I am a medical intuitive and registered nurse, and this podcast is all about just opening up our minds, expanding, learning things about our health and learning things about the world, really challenging our beliefs and helping us to move forward, truly, to bring breathe some fresh air into different conversations that we have. So today is a shits and giggles episode. So of course I've set the timer because you know me and my shits and giggles episodes. I don't like them to run longer than 15 minutes, really. I don't want, the times when it's like me in these little moments to just become a rant. But one of the things that I really felt compelled to speak on because I'm here, I'm living in it, is the state of my world right now, which is if you are not um if you're not familiar with what's going on in Minnesota right now, let me just put a timestamp on this so for for anybody listening to this in the future. January of 2026. And right now we have ICE, the immigration enforcement people. I have a really hard time trying to I know I should probably have more respect because they're a federal entity, but I can honestly say that their behavior that I have been seeing, the things that have been occurring, this is not the federal government that I feel like my ancestors fought to build. This is not it. This is not it. And so if I sound like I lack any level of respect, yeah, that's actually accurate. I'm gonna be honest and say that this is not the first time that I've recorded this episode. I feel like the first time that I recorded this, it when I didn't set a timer. I didn't give myself my usual cutoff point because I really felt like I needed to get out what I needed to get out. I needed to be able to voice my frustrations with this. I needed to be able to say what was going on and how I was feeling about it. And it really was helpful. It was quite helpful. So you guys take this as permission for you that if you are going through something and you just feel like you need to kind of word vomit and get all of that stuff out, the initial, just to see where your opinion truly lands after, I highly encourage people to like record themselves. Not because you're going to want to listen back to it. I definitely have not listened back to that first recording, but just to allow yourself to be able to be human because our lives are real. The world may be made up, right? Like I keep seeing videos now of people being like, bank accounts are made up and your credit score is made up and blah, blah, blah is made up. Yeah, all of that may be made up. And if you are in a place where you're secure enough to be able to have all of those things be meaningless to you, I am so proud of you. I'm so grateful that life has worked out in a way that has allowed for you to get to that place. But I also want people who are not yet at that place to realize that you're not invalid. What you're feeling and what you're going through and how you kind of move through the world is valid. It is valid. And as a master healer and as a master intuitive who has spent years at this point learning how to master and understand my energy and my emotions to the such a degree that I don't get sick anymore. I don't have the same level of like triggeredness that most people experience when they hear about bad news or deaths or whatever. Like I still found myself in a place where the feelings and emotions and the fear that is pervasive in my state right now was starting to affect me. And so by recording and just allowing for myself to release all of that in in well, I don't even know if I would necessarily call it a healthy way, but just release it was super helpful. So You guys, the things that are going on here, I'm going to be very honest. It's not fun. I had gotten used to seeing a lot of AI videos, and now my feed is is flooded with videos from people's phones that, as I look at it, I know are not AI. I recognize the places where these individuals are recording. I recognize the restaurants behind them. I recognize the neighborhoods behind them. I recognize not the faces, but I recognize the mentality of the Minnesotan people. And that for me has been pretty like soul crushing to watch as people are illegally being pulled from their cars, having their windows smashed out, having people seek shelter and running for fear that it doesn't matter what they say or what papers they show, that they're ultimately going to be taken and detained for hours, if not days, and that it doesn't matter what their status is. You guys, as a very ambiguous looking person of color who has been mistaken for Mexican, has been mistaken for Arab, has been mistaken for any number of other things besides black and white, which is actually what I am. The the notion for me of, well, maybe I should carry my passport. I'm a US citizen. I should not have to think about that. But we're now hearing from the federal government, you know what, citizens should be carrying their their passports, their papers. And what I what I hear that to mean is that black and brown people should carry their papers. Because if you're black and brown, then the thought process is that you're not from here, or that you could potentially not be from here. Because they're not saying that, they're not pulling over people who are white. They're not they're not pulling people, they're not profiling people who are German or Sweden or who are who are British. Like, this is the reality. And guys, like, what I am really wanting to say here in the last few minutes that I have is, you guys, this is, whether it's all made up or not, this is what is existing. And as a person who has worked very hard to tell the universe that I operate under a very specific set of rules, the emotions that I'm feeling right now are, they break my heart. What I'm seeing in these communities is breaking my heart. And I understand that there is anger from the more, I don't even really want to like label them a particular base, but I'll say it like this. I understand that there's anger about those individuals who have come into the country, across the country, um, in a way that is not legal, that's, not getting a green card, not getting a visa. I know that there is anger about the fact that American lives have been lost at the hands of criminal entities. And I understand that there is a want to have safety in their communities. What I really want people to understand is that this is something that we all want. These things are what we all want. That there's a drive for us to want better. And so just I'm praying and I am sending out all of the healing that I can to people, that we all remember that. And that we band together not to fight a particular entity, but these sorts of behaviors that are making some individuals seem less human because the videos that I'm seeing, the stuff that's occurring in my beloved state, these aren't the act of humans. This isn't the act of people who care about others. The, these aren't actions of a government that cares because they're not having the requisite papers that they require, like warrants. They're coming at this from, they're coming at this in a way that is meant to be aggressive, that is meant to elicit a particular reaction so that violence is the only response that one can take. And luckily, so far, the Minnesotans here have been so peaceful and, um, for the most part, they've been peaceful for the most part. From what I've seen, from what I've heard, from what has been witnessed, um, violence has 99% been instigated by those wearing masks over their faces and carrying large assault rifles. Um, Guys, this is one of those things where I can only say that for as sad and disappointed as I am in the state of my country, one of the things that I'm most proud of is that people are standing up for each other. People are loving each other. People are truly saying, and not saying, showing their Christian values, their Islam values, their Jewish values, the values that really are about bringing us together. They're showing up for their neighbors. They're protecting them. They are um they're helping them. They're making sure that they get to their jobs safely. They're making sure that they have food to eat. They're making sure that their babies are taken care of and have what they need. So, you guys, for as heartbroken as I am that our federal government has been giving carte blanche nonsense to particular individuals, what I can say I'm absolutely so like in gratitude for and am loving is the fact that we're not going down to the lowest denominator. We're rising up. We're taking the high road. Um, we're not meeting them at their level. And I hope that we continue to do that. I hope that we continue to be a group of individuals, not just here, but anywhere that this crap is happening. I hope that we will continue to show up as humans and practice what we preach and love each other enough to care and love each other enough to ask questions, love each other enough to not jump to conclusions, love each other enough to not want violence against individuals. That's what I am putting out into the world, and I refuse to walk through this world believing the worst of everybody. So for all of you out there who is wondering how I'm doing, because I know that a lot of people forget that I'm Minnesotan and that I live here, especially like I've got a lot of friends who don't even realize that this is where I live and this is what I'm going through. I just want to say that this is how I'm doing. I refuse to walk in fear. I refuse to act as if I have something that I should be sorry for, much less being sorry for the color of my skin or, where I live or, who I am. I have no intention of starting that awful trend. And I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful, but I'm sad. There's pieces of me that are angry, but for the most part, I'm hopeful. And that I think is the biggest thing. So guys, thank you so much for joining me for this episode of Breath of Life Conversations. I know it's certainly not a giggles episode by any means, but I have this platform and I know that I need to use it. And so here we are, me using it. If you are interested in helping in any way, there are some links down below in the show notes that you can check out and donate to if you're interested. And next week, I hope to be having a one of my favorite guests on. Her name is Monica. She's a fertility health expert, but we found a podcast episode of two doctors discussing East versus West medicine, and I just love shooting thoughts back and forth and understandings back and forth and challenging my belief systems too with her. And she's an incredible speaker and getting her thoughts out. So join us next week to discuss that podcast episode that is really going to, I think, challenge a lot of belief systems. And I'm really excited for you guys to hear how we believe in what we have seen in the medical field. So join us for that. Thank you guys as well. Stay safe out there if you're here in Minnesota. If you need anything, reach out to me and join us next time for the next Breath of Life conversations. Bye, y'all.